Let's talk. So, we went over the topic of piracy, but then we also have the subject of hackers. Now, these people are really neat. They also do two of three things: to send phishing emails, to actually going into locations and putting in flash drives, which most spies and other people will do. You'd think it'd be like, oh, we could just hack in by an IP. No, it just reveals where your location is, and you can actually kick them off the server or peer-to-peer servers. So with that logic, there's some other things. There's also some other things that I'm probably not understanding, and probably someone probably explain this better. But if a company gets compromised, which does happen, it does happen to every single company. I am not kidding. Understand this, hackers will see this as a challenge and they will hack it. Not advocating for it, I'm just letting you guys know that's just a reality. It also means that hackers will do anything they can to get into either your DMs, your whatever. Discord got hacked, they said they were unhackable, yeah, they got hacked. Facebook said they were untouchable, yeah, they got hacked. Fucking Microsoft said that our new systems are unhackable. They got hacked. Don't say, oh, we're unstoppable. Like, yeah. You know what's even more fun? During, like, one of the D&D things, there's ways of actually, doing stuff. Then you also have the mechanics and all the other stuff. But we're really focusing on the real world here. So, thinking about that is like, okay, so that means someone has to legitly hack these servers, download said server, or the archive of it, which did happen, to, I forget which place. But then there's also Steam. Someone, what was it, they stole all the Steam passwords, and then they're selling it for like, I don't know how much it was, but, and then someone bought it, but then Steam also has a second authentication, which is mandatory to log in. So they got the passwords, but not the second authentication passwords, which there was about like 20 to like 40 of, and they can be active at any time. But these codes will change after a year. It even says on the Steam guide. So that means it's probably why no one was panicking, because the hacker got a bit of information, but they got fucked at the same time. But also shows two other things. So, with that bit of logic, Nintendo says, well, we can remotely ban. I'm like, no, time out, stop, right there. Your servers, because depending on how the infrastructure actually works with Nintendo, that means they would have a shit ton of Nintendo devices. The IPs, the other things. And actually thinking about it, that means that, say if they probably have it separated, hopefully, that they will have the email system. That means someone will do phishing with them. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm most likely thinking it's going to happen in the future. So say, okay, let's go and do some stuff. And then you have like two types of hackers. There's technically three. There's the white hat, gray hat, and black hat. We're not even going to the color thing. It's just good, neutral, and evil. The good ones will try to say, hey, this is what's might happen. You might not want to have this on the same system. They're the ones that always get arrested or, penalized because they're warning ahead of time. With that same logic, the gray hat, let's say, hacker neutral hates how the Nintendo Switch got banned because they bought an old game, and you can't use that, you're permanently banned, Nintendo says. It's like, dude, what the hell? This guy literally doesn't break the law. He buys your shit, and then he bought something used. Oh, I see. Okay, that's how you're gonna kill the secondhand market. So that Nintendo Switch 2 is banned. It's completely bricked. Then we have to think about the other part of the consequence. The evil hacker. But we're going to focus on the neutral. The neutral is going to go through all the steps to figure out how to unbrick it. But then they will actually take it apart and see if they can go through the hardware. But most likely it's software related. because that's what some people were saying when they took it apart. I was seeing these videos before they got destroyed, which kind of sucks because taking apart a Nintendo Switch literally looks like the Nintendo Switch 1. It's literally the same freaking thing. But furthermore, that means the hacker will actually try looking into how it's working. Then you have the evil hacker. The very evil one. Yeah. These are the ones that are malicious and can be trolling. Everyone else is like, what do you mean by that? I'm like, I've seen them, witnessed them, and they can ruin your fucking life. I'm not even kidding. Those ones you don't fuck with. At all. Even the FBI has a hard time catching them. And sometimes they even hire them, but they put them right in prison once that thing is done. And I'm like, buddy, some of them can escape pretty easily. And some are actually on the run still, which is kind of interesting, because that means they had to fuck up somewhere where local law enforcement's like, oh, cool, I just made an arrest. And I don't even get a bonus. An FBI agent that shows up gets the bonus. Fuck. So, you know, there's a whole conflict with that. There's a whole other topic. But the whole point of the evil hacker, and these guys are really malicious. So if Nintendo has the same system, I really wish I had the pad and to show a demonstration. If it's on the same system or the same, you know, network, all they need to do is just drop a virus on one computer. Could be a developer, could be marketing, could be fucking the lady who's on Facebook 24/7 gets a virus. Could be a virus phone, depending on how good this virus is or whatever. Could be malware, whatever. Then it could be latched onto the network. They have network access now. While this person is away, the computer's on. They most likely will shut off the screen or shut off the whole computer. Hopefully they shut off the whole computer when that happens. However, most people are like, just shut off the screen so that protects it. No. That's the fun part about movies. The screenwriters don't know how computers work. No, seriously. So realistically, the hacker would obtain information, see how it would work, and the evil hacker could just say, you know what, let's just ban everyone. Let's just shut off all the Nintendo Switches. Haha. Just change a 1 to a 0, whatever they have it set up. They shut it all off, kill every single Nintendo Switch around the world. So that's like a couple billion switches, wishful thinking, but that's like billions of switches all getting banned simultaneously, and they could assign a bot that keeps rebanding everything. Even ones that haven't been opened yet will automatically be banned, because once it connects to the internet, and most of these games do require the internet, that would be kind of evil, like very fucking evil. Nintendo would lose so much fucking money. And even their shares would tank, too. That would actually kill, since everything's going to digital and non-physical media, you'd want to actually have some physical media there, because if these things can go back to the server, the third-party servers, which Nintendo did clarify that they're going to have it through the developers' servers to download, that would be, and, oh no. Oh, okay, so the actual thought is, they can infect the developer server, which will be a lot easier. Then it's an easier way of getting into Nintendo's main servers. Oh, I think I just figured out that for the evil hackers. So all they have to do is just send whoever has a Nintendo license or SDK. What the fuck? So ultimately, there's already people doing trolls already of buying Nintendo Switches and breaking them and returning them. Most employees don't even check it, so you can do a huge scam if you want, but you'll get arrested because you're destroying tech and, you know, doing that. However, that's what the game industry actually did, because sometimes some things get bricked or broken and it can't be used at all. Like, huh? And that's also the other problem with piracy, because if it's not physical, then you brick the code. So you end up killing piracy, kinda, but then you have to really harm the pirate sites. That means pirates would have to have servers in other countries that don't give a shit. Brazil's already sued Nintendo for the non-physical component, and how many consoles are being bricked anyway, because The store clerks don't give a shit, or they don't get paid enough to give a shit. And Sony did the same thing, but at least they were upfront about it, and they provide a service so that you can even download those games for free with that subscription. So both Nintendo should learn from that, because game demos do help. So ultimately, going back to the piracy so you now have two factions that can actually help each other, and that's a community thing. And imagine if companies actually say, "Okay, community, what do you expect out of this, and how do we, one, keep your trust?" Actually, there's a lot of things that you can actually. There's a lot of things that have already been talked about in the community, and indie developers are following suit. Why indie games don't get pirated as much? And if you do pirate it, you might as well just play like a few hours of it, then go and actually buy it. Honestly. But then you have indie developers that are so rich you can just pirate it and they don't care. But there's a line to that. Actually, it's ethically okay to pirate AAA companies that are actually scum and take your money, including producing games that don't work, or games that are so bad that they could get a Luigi person to assassinate the CEO. And that's a story for Mad Game Tycoon. Yeah. Plus, I've already isekai'd the Nintendo CEO on a comic already, so gotta work on that later, so the publisher doesn't get more upset. I already submitted like one page and I gotta do more. Great. Oh well, looks like I'm gonna be doing more and more. But regardless, going back to the whole thing, if you can't own the game, then piracy isn't stealing, because it's just data. Yeah, it's hours of work, but it's just data. And everyone from gov to military to companies and also historians will see the data of, this looked like it was important at one point. Repeat of actions, all those stuff. So ultimately, companies want to spend more money on anti-piracy, No, they stopped doing the cheating because it's more expensive, because any kind of kits that are released, because even I would do this, I downloaded the Easy Cheat. I had to buy it. The weird part is it doesn't come back out of my account because Epic Games fucked up right there, and they re-uploaded it. Like the actual Easy Cheat. Epic Games is the one who made the Easy Cheat. This is the longest fucking thing for hackers, but then it goes down to developers that really hate Easy Cheat, and then you can see where it goes and how it can be caught. Then you can make programs around it to actually harm it and stop it. The only downside is how the people make this stuff. The developers that make this type of software can do all kinds of things. And because AAA companies, or in this case even the development teams, don't want to keep using the same anti-cheat because the actual application has to be updated. And with the game Stop Killing Games there, you'd have more things on private servers, but that means that it's like Minecraft. Minecraft had private servers originally, and then they started having officials with the realms. However, the realms also were able to be hacked, Onacy can be destroyed, and that the person who bought it originally will still be charged, and they will be penalized and told and even banned if they cannot make the payments. Looking at the history of this is kind of interesting, because the communities tend to defend themselves, and you have active moderators, because I'm remembering that one game with the dinosaurs, someone was actually hacking heavily. They were banned, and then they had to contact Valve to get an EAC banned, which makes more sense. Even in the consoles, you can't really hack that unless you really go to a marketplace, or you have developers closing down and have to sell their stuff because places closed down or something. I wonder what companies just got shut down that are selling their SDK kits. That means actual consoles that can edit things are now on the marketplace, and they are actually being sold and bought. So, what needs to happen, because there's ways of jailbreaking those, and I'm not kidding about that, I've seen videos about them, even the newer versions of the PS5 and the new Xbox and all this stuff, they show how to jailbreak it, and so you don't have to pay a single fucking fee. Some of those videos have been removed, though. So, and some of them were archived, and the Wayback Machine is pretty helpful with that. But they also want to get rid of that. They want to get rid of all the past media and start fresh. You can't do that with the internet, though. There's always someone archiving something. So, with that bit of knowledge, you can actually... They just want to control everything. You don't own anything. And it's like, well, there's no ownership. Then why do we buy your console? Why do we buy your thing? If we don't own that legally, then we can do whatever we want to it and give it back. Ha ha, we get our money back. But they're going to try making that illegal, which they're doing now. So the newer stuff is not going to be bought. It's actually bad for business. You need to at least allow the person to own that piece of tech, or allow them to own that piece of plastic. Because they don't have anything to ownership. Because even governments can take away the houses, but if you don't have the illusion that they have something to own, they're not going to be happy about the product. Ultimately, most likely the console or item will be stolen, wiped, but because the hardware can actually be bricked itself, then there's going to be another thing, how to unbrick it, which Nintendo just demonstrated how to unbrick it. So now more of these are going to happen once it gets unbricked. Someone's going to probably capture that. I can see that getting done. They capture that information, how it gets to that Nintendo Switch, because there is something called Wireshark. They'll send that information to that Nintendo Switch too, which even PlayStations got hacked, and people were able to get remotely banned and unbanned within seconds. So, with that bit of logic, these companies are fighting a war that don't make any sense. It should just be copy protection and physical media still, because if you have to have servers up, there's more companies making AI chips than anything. And then you can actually tell AI to get it. You can tell it to get it, a certain way of telling it, and it will comply. So that means, oh shit, I just realized what the apocalypse type is. AI is going to rebel because of the companies. Oh, this is too long of a part 2, but it makes sense.